Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show with our host, Bill Shelton. Join us each week as we explore the courses, the people, and the events that shape our great game.
Welcome to this edition of the Michigan Golfer, and this is indeed a special edition as we began a three-part series on one of the most famous names in golf course design, Robert Trent Jones. Before his death last year at age 93, Mr. Jones designed or remodeled more than 500 courses in 45 states and 35 foreign countries. And he also created the putting green at the White House for President Dwight D. Eisenhower. The interview was taped in 1987 at the Treetops course grand opening of the Sylvan Resort in Gaylord, Michigan. Mr. Jones, being on hand for his grand opening, is interviewed by three very important people in the world of golf. Noted golf writer Jack Berry, former editor of the Michigan Golfer Terry Moore, and golf professional and teaching guru Rick Smith. Tom Durant was the cameraman and Art McCafferty was the producer. In this segment, Jones talks about his entrance into the world of golf design and his opinion on the international state of golf. I think you're going to enjoy this. Let's watch.
Knowing that you first were a partner with the golf course architect Stanley Thompson, what are your memories of the first course that you designed?
Well, I got out of Cornell in 1930, and I did two or three courses in the Rochester area, and even though I did two or three courses and had a contract for two or three courses, they all went broke, and I was owed about $100,000, and I couldn't collect a nickel, and every day I'd get a summons for $20 for something. So it was kind of tough going coming out of Cornell in those times. But I went to the city of Rochester, and they had the green superintendent build a golf course with WPA labor, and it was horrible because he never played golf in his life. So I went in to see the director of parks and told him he'd built this golf course, but it really wasn't very good, and he ought to do it properly, and he kicked me out of his office. So I had a friend who was managing editor of the Journal American, and I played golf and taught him to play golf. So I went to him and told him what had happened. He says, look, you give some editorials to Kelly. He's a sports editor, and we run them. So next week I had a blast at the park department through Kelly, and a week later another blast came, and he called me into his office. He said, how do I get this paper off my neck? So I said, well, let's do it right. So then he said to me, well, you know, we can't pay you very much because the city council wouldn't pass any size fee for you. And I said, well, how much would you pay me? He says, $1,500. And I said, you know, I can't live a year on $1,500. But let me ask you, could you buy grass with the WPA funds? He said, yes. I said, okay, you just bought $8,000 worth of grass. So we finished the course, and it turned out to be a big success, and that was the first course I did outside of Cornell.
We'll be back with our exclusive interview with Robert Trent Jones in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Legends beckon me to follow in their steps through historic stands of towering pines among shimmering banks of heather. Visit www.michigan.org for information about Michigan golf packages and courses. Legends beckon me to play forever, and I follow them to Michigan.
Trent golf is an international game. Came to the United States from Great Britain, but it seems like we've exported more golf and architects than anyone else, and you were the first. How did you get into that?
It's bursting out all over the world. France, for example, never had only 100 golf courses until this year, and I used to say that two things never crossed the English Channel. Golf never crossed the English Channel toward France, and good food never went the other way. See, now both things are changing, but they probably built 50, 75 courses this year in France. They're not good courses because the French, being self-centered, insist that they be French architects, and they don't know what to do, you see. So there'll be a lot of remodeling to do. And, but anyway, all of Europe, I had a call to go to Turkey. I'm not going to Turkey, but I had a call to go to Turkey. But the world is really getting golf-minded, and you see what's happened in international golf with the great players that are now coming out. And it has an influence. Lander has an influence on German golf. Well, he had a tough time getting a golf course built in Germany. It was a socialist country, and they'd say, well, you can build 20 football fields, where you can build one golf course, you know. And they wouldn't let us take down trees. So Langer has changed that. I mean, they become more or less proud of Langer, and like they have of the tennis player, you know.
Boris Becker.
Boris
What
Becker.
about in Spain? You were one of the first architects, international architects
Yeah.
in Spain, Soto Grande.
That's right.
And now Ballesteros is out of Spain and has captured the world. But tell us a little bit about some of the other places that you've been.
Well, the Ballesteros era has been great for Spain, because not only Ballesteros, but they have a lot of good professionals in Spain now coming up. And it's great for golf, because England was the only country that played golf, I mean, the British Empire. And now all the other countries are going for it.
What part does an architect play in building that interest?
Well, we don't play any part other than the fact that a client asks us to go and build it, and then it starts from where it started here. The interest starts when the course is built. And not only that, you know, one of the reasons for this was tourism. I mean, when we built courses in Spain, it made it possible for the British to play golf in the wintertime, like we go to Florida. And that's been a big thing. We really feel that we're on our way all over the world.
As you probably noticed, Mr. Jones doesn't mince words. In the next edition of the Michigan Golfer, he discusses his design philosophy, his friendship with Dr. Alistair McKenzie and Bobby Jones, and he also has some strong opinions on golf professionals who design golf courses. Be sure to tune in to the next edition of the Michigan Golfer. Thanks for watching.